Time for a pirate story. And look at the back of this book. What do you notice about that, Jolly Roger? Doesn't look like a regular skull. That's right. Looks just like a rabbit. That gives us a clue to the book. It's called Henry and the Buccaneer Bunnies. It's by Carolyn Crimney, and it's illustrated by Joe Manders. Kind of a silly story. And on the front cover, it does have a pirate map again. And a little sticker from the children who gave it to me. Brendan and Bethany. Very long time ago. 2005, 2006. But I remember them when I read this book. Henry and the Buccaneer Bunnies. Cruising the seven seas on a rickety old ship called the Salty Carrot, a wild and rowdy band of buccaneer bunnies. They were bad, bad bunnies, all right. When pirates on other ships saw their long, fluffy ears and their fluffy white tails, they shook with fear. The captain of the Salty Carrot was Barnacle Blackear, the baddest bunny brute of all time. Blackear was proud of his wooden paw, his golden earrings, and his mean reputation. What Blackear was not proud of was his son, Henry. Instead of performing his pirate duties, Henry was more interested in reading the books the Buccaneers stole from other ships. Shout, shiver me timbers! Blackear roared. I'd rather finish this chapter, said Henry. Make this prisoner walk the plank. Can't I just read about it? Asked Henry. Find yourself a parrot for your shoulder. First, I need to read up on parrot care, said Henry. Buccaneer bunnies don't read books, said Blackear. Toss 'em overboard, he yelled to the other bunnies. No, wait, cried Henry. Let me just finish them first. Avast, cried Blackear. Swab the decks until you come to your senses. And so Henry swabbed the decks day after day while reading some of his favorite books, The Rabbits Crusoe and 30 Days to Longer Ears. Bet you can't learn how to do this from a book, Jean Laterre said while sharpening his hook. Henry sighed and turned the page. You'll never find booty like this in a book, Calico Jack Rabbit told him, holding up his stolen loot. Henry shrugged and turned the page. Can't do this with a book in your paw, Bartholomew Bunny said while sanding his peg leg. Henry just turned another page. As much as he loved his books, Henry was a lonely Buccaneer bunny if ever there was one. Then one morning he looked up at the red sky and wiggled his little pink nose. He heard the parrots squawk and saw the fish jumping out of the water. If my books on meteorology are correct, those signs mean a big storm is headed this way, he thought. Henry tried telling Jean Laterre about the upcoming storm. Excuse me, but I believe a storm is coming. But Jean Laterre was too busy polishing his pieces of 8. Go back to your books, Henry. He tried telling Calico Jack Rabbit. I'm pretty sure a storm is on its way, Henry said. But Calico Jack was too busy admiring his tattoo of a cabbage. Don't bother me now, Henry. Finally, Henry cried, batten down the hatches! A huge storm is coming! What do you know about storms? Blackear demanded. Get back to your swabbing the deck before I make ye shark bait out of those books of yours. Henry did as he was told, but he kept his little pink eyes on the skies. When he saw the rats abandoning ship, he started packing up his books in empty treasure chests. The storm started small. A few Low grumbles of thunder, a spike of lightning, then suddenly a crashing, bashing, thrashing wildcat of a hurricane broke loose. It shook the ship. Suffering sea dogs! It mangled the masts. Great blimey bilges! It slashed the sails, damaged the deck, and ripped up the rickety old salty carrot. All that was left floating on the choppy waters were a bunch of soggy bunnies and Henry's treasure chests filled with books. When the storm finally calmed down, Black Ear, Henry, and the rest of the Buccaneer bunnies paddled to the nearest island. "We're ruined," wailed Black Ear. "No ship, no pieces of eight, no gems." He sat in the sand and blubbered like a lily-livered landlubber. But Henry got to work. Remember, when things get hard, we try harder. I think Henry knows that. He's not giving up. The first thing he did was build a 2-story hut out of palm fronds and coconuts. Whoa. "How did ye learn to do that?" asked Black Ear. "I read it in 101 Things to Do with Palm Fronds and Coconuts," said Henry. Next, he built a fire and cooked up a tasty seaweed stew. "Blimey," said the hungry bunnies. "Where did ye learn that?" "I learned the recipe in Quick and Easy Meals for Marooned Pirates," said Henry. Then he made them all fetching garments from the bits and pieces he had salvaged from the shipwreck. "We look like gentle bunnies, we do. What swank swashbucklers we are!" "Ah, and it's all from them landlubbing books," said Black Ear, shaking his head. Henry taught Black Ear and the Buccaneer bunnies all kinds of useful things, like how to plant carrots and make the best sand castles, and build boats out of palm fronds. Soon they had built a new ship, which they sailed to the library at the nearby Easter Islands every summer. Here the bunnies spend many happy hours slurping seaweed stew and reading books. "Arr! Buccaneer bunnies will always need books," said Black Ear. Henry just smiled and turned the page. And look what we have here. The author's note. This is Carolyn Crimney. And look at, she did a picture of herself as a pirate. And here is John Manders. He also made a picture of himself as a pirate. Sounds like kind of fun. I really enjoyed reading you that book. Maybe you have some books about pirates at your house. I took these from the school on the very last day because I knew I would want to read them to you. Have a great afternoon, and I'll see you in the morning.